Okay, so I'm going to talk about design thinking, the human-centered approach to creative problem solving. And I would like to start with a question. Do you know why elevators have mirrors inside? If someone knows, I would like to listen to you guys. Joseph, do you know?
I think psychologically because we are self-centered. Because it actually helps us to, we think otherwise the elevator would take us a long time to get to the destination. So that's why they actually put mirrors inside so that we focus on ourselves and the time perceived is actually lower. Does it make sense?
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah. So it turns out that the first elevators were very slow. And for some people that was an issue, right? Claustrophobic. And one company tried to fix this trouble. They spent a lot of money trying to design a faster elevator. And they used a full waste of resources, like a more powerful motor, a stronger pulleys, cables, safer braking systems, etc. And another company just added some mirrors. What do you think it happened? Well, the mirror allowed people to distract by observing themselves while they was inside the elevator and to double the visual space they was having in that reduced space. This worked, and in nowadays it's super weird that we have an elevator without a mirror. I have another question for you guys. Do you think this is an innovation? Somebody?
I'll just say no.
No?
Yeah.
Okay, that was straightforward. Actually, yes. Yes, it is an innovation, and here we'll see why. So now let me introduce myself a little bit. So I'm Estefanía Galindo. I am a project manager. I work as a project manager in a fintech company. I am from Guatemala, and my background is, well, I'm graduated as with a double major, mechanical and industrial engineer, and material science and engineering. I went to South Korea to study a short course. And my experience is basically in project management, production lines, quality assurance, digital transformation, continuous improvement, social innovation, and yeah, so that's a little bit about myself. Now coming back, what is innovation? The Oxford Dictionary says that innovation is the introduction of new things, ideas, or ways of doing something. It also says that it's a new idea, a way of doing something that has been introduced or discovered. So basically, innovation is something new, right? That's why it's really easy to say, this is innovation, this is not innovation, right? But if we re-engineer the meaning, we could get something like this. Innovation is the process of making an idea or invention into a good or service that creates value and or for which customers will pay. What does that mean? Innovation is not necessarily something new, but something that has impact. And in the screen, we see a super common object, and it has an impact in our life now. Why? Years ago, this bottle of tomato ketchup was made out of glass, and it was having this special shape, like another juices or water bottles have. What was happening in those times? The issue was that you could not squeeze the bottle and the ketchup was actually hard to get. And also because of the shape and the viscosity of the ketchup, it was hard to get the ketchup out, right? I mean, I think we know this, or we saw this some years ago. Now they reinvent the package, and we have a plastic bottle which we can squeeze, and it's having this shape that makes easier for tomato ketchup to come out of the bottle, you know? And this has an impact because you can imagine this in your mind. You are in a dinner with somebody, with your family, with friends, and you're eating French fries, and you want to put some ketchup in your fries, and the ketchup just it's not coming out. You know, you try and it's just not working. So you leave the ketchup, and what else? You have to eat your fries without ketchup. Now this is just not happening. You just take the bottle, put the ketchup in your fries, and there you go. Impact. Why? Easier for the user, faster for the user, and less stressful for the user, you know? We have different types of innovation. It depends on the impact on the market and the technology newness we have, you know? So I'm going to present 4: architectural, disruptive, radical, and incremental. Architectural is, I'm sorry. Architectural, it's a significant improvement on a product that aims to sustain the position in an existing market. So for example, we have a printer machine, you know, this big chunk of plastic with sensors and fluids inside, you know. It's a standalone multifunction, and it occupies a space in an office. It's big, it's heavy, and expensive too. On the other side, we have a personal multifunction printer that you can take, you know, at least easier than the other one, you know, which you can have more than one, you know, in the same office. And it's less heavier, it's less expensive, and it occupies less space. So at the first, there was existing only these big printers, but then innovation came, and now we have a personal printer, you know, and this is called architectural type of innovation. Incremental, for example, the iPhone evolution, you know, it's the same product, you know, it's a phone, but with the time, more functions was added to this phone, you know. At the beginning, you could only talk with the phone. Then you could talk and take pictures. Then you could talk, take pictures, and use a GPS, and so on and on and on, you know. Now you can do video calls with your phone, play videos with your phone, play video games with your phone, etc. You know, it's a gradual, continuous improvement on existing products and services, you know. Then we have the disruptive type of innovation, in which technology or new businesses disrupts the market, the existing market. So Netflix is not something new, you know. They was using exactly the same resources to do the same as Blockbuster, except for Netflix. It's flexible, it's friendly with the user, it's empowering the user, you know, the user decides when to use it, when not to use it, etc. The same as Uber, you know, you can use the data that Uber has and know whom is your driver, how much you're going to pay. Things that before you was just not able, you know? So it's a disruptive innovation. And then we have the radical one, you know? And as example, I have the evolution of data storage, you know? At first, we started with this paper punch. I forgot the name, but it was a paper, really paper with holes. And it was supposed to carry information and give it to the computers. Then diskettes, then DVDs or CDs, then USBs. And now we have something huge and easily for people to use, and it's the cloud, you know. So it was radical, you know, it was like a technological breakthrough that transformed the industry and created a new market, because with the cloud, new markets actually were created. So it's another kind of innovation. What's the importance of innovation? Innovation is important to the advancement of society. Think about this. New and innovative products have increased the standard of living and provided people with opportunities to improve their lives. You know, none of us can say that life is way easier than how it was before. You know, to communicate. I mean, I remember my grandma telling me stories that to communicate, for her to communicate with my grandpa, she had to go physically to a building and then write a super tiny letter and then paying tons of money to be able to send this letter. I mean, now I can just call my friends in the other side of the world in seconds without moving, without even paying, you know, like innovation. This is possible, of course, if you're smart enough to realize it, you know. It's not that easy as it sounds, because there are some difficulties in innovation, you know, some challenges, because people need to understand that we evolve with time, and so the conditions around us also change. So it's not as easy as it sounds, but it is possible. What is design thinking? Design thinking is an agile innovation methodology focused on people's needs. You know, here the idea is to start with the user and their needs, not only the basic ones, but also their desires and motivations. What do the user need? That's the question, you know. What comes first, the idea or the user? We are going to define what the idea is and what the user is, you know, just the idea is that amazing something you have and you want to sell to somebody. And the user is that somebody whom is going to buy your amazing something you have. What would you choose? Would you create this amazing something first, or would you ask that somebody that's going to actually buy your amazing something what he wants so you can make it and then sell it? You know, what comes first, the idea or the user? Always the user. Tenets of innovation. So we have three circles. We have the feasibility, the viability, and the desirability. The feasibility are the resources. You know, this is where engineering, science, and technology takes place. And this is where many of us, since we're engineers, we take place there. You know, we can use our knowledge and our background there. You know, that's why this topic sounds like, oh, this is only for marketing. Oh, this is only for business people or entrepreneurs. No, actually not. And then we have viability. And there we have the businesses. And businesses wants to sell, right? And that's why, you know, they are part of the circle. In this desirability, the users take place. We have to start there, you know. In the center of these three circles, we have the innovation. We have to start there because, as I said before, we want to sell something that somebody wants to buy. Otherwise, it's not going to work, you know. Therefore, we have some questions. Can we do something or that something? Should we do that something? Do they want that something? You know, that's the most important stuff. Do they want it? Because if they want it and we can, should we? And then, you know, KPIs and stuff. But there is a background, you know, we can take a decision. But if they don't want that something, even though we have the resources, should we? They want that something, but we don't have the resources. Should we? You know, these questions are really important in the process of design thinking. And I'm going to talk about a little bit of the Golden Circle by Simon Sinek. I know that many knows whom he is. He presents that the why, it's the core. The why is the purpose, and it's the most important question we have to make to ourselves. It's the necessity we detect, you know, the opportunity. The how is the process, you know, the specific actions we're going to take to make possible that why. And then the what, it's the result of the why, you know, the product of the service we want to sell. We was having this mistake, you know. I mean, we as society some years ago, now since the design thinking and other strategies, it's less possible, this thing, but I'm going to continue referring as we don't know what our clients want. It's not these, you know. We don't know why our clients want what they want. You know, if we will know this, then we will work on this. We will make something possible. I have this example. Years ago, you can see a desk full of things to create like an office space, books, calculator, phone, computer, printer, and on and on and on. Even agendas, camera, everything, you know. Now we don't need that much, you know. We need only one computer and everything is inside, you know. Everything what I said before, it's inside the computer, and the user can just take it and work whatever he wants. That's what he wanted those time. He was not having it. Now he does. The process of design thinking consists of 5 steps or stages. The first one is to empathize. To empathize is to understand the real needs of the user, you know, and by needs, I don't mean only like bad stuff. I mean only, or pain, you know, no. I mean also goals, dreams, something that the user likes, his cultural background, you know, his needs, something he feels comfortable and he would like to have. Then we have to define, to detect the opportunities we have based on the needs of the user. With this, we are focusing on the problem awareness. It's the first part. As engineers, I mean, I don't know if all of you guys are engineers, but me as an engineer, I know that the first thing I have to know to solve a trouble or to solve a problem is knowing what the problem is. Otherwise, it's just not going to work. So these two things are going to tell me what the problem is or what the opportunity is. And then we have the solution proposals to ideate, to prototype, and to implement. To ideate is generating ideas to match the opportunities we found previously. To prototype is making those ideas real. Even those prototypes are not real, let's say it this way, but they have to be interactive with our user. What do I mean with that? For example, we are creating an app and we don't have the resources to make the app, to make the prototype of the app, but we can, for example, use a paper and put there like a mock-up, you know, of the screens. This is going to be the first screen. If you click this button, then you're going to get this another screen, and then this, you know, to make that prototype interactive. So when people are going to try it, they're going to feel what you want them to feel, you know, with the real one. Then to implement is to co-create with users the idea, basically. You know, you're not going to make something, as I have been saying before, that they are not going to like, because if they don't like it, they're not going to buy it. And if they don't buy it, then you're going to get trouble, you know. So implement, co-creating with users, receiving their feedback, and then goes again, ideate, prototype, implement until it is ready. And something super important to mention is that design thinking is not like only once and that's it. I created the perfect product. Everyone is fine with it and it's happy, because time is changing, you know, updating, and new ideas are coming and new needs are existing and so on. So this is going to be permanently ongoing, you know, implement, feedback, ideate, prototype, implement, feedback. And those are the solution proposals, as I was saying. The key point elements are empathy, you know, to put ourselves in the shoes of the user, define what he wants, test if it's working or not, and then ideate the final result. You know, for this you need prototyping, a market research, brainstorming with users, user testing, tons of interviews with the users, using the research tools, interviews with the users, testing MVPs, focus groups, A/B tests, using analytics, eye tracking. You know, the recipe for research is to investigate, to create, to experiment. And it goes this way. This is how to start. And that's all I had for you today. So now we have time to discuss.
Great, thank you so much, Estefanía. It was quite quick, but very, very insightful. Any questions from the audience? Don't be too shy, feel free to ask her. Maybe we'll give it a couple of seconds, put your questions in the chat. How do you personally approach design thinking, Estefanía, in your day-to-day work? Is it exactly the steps you followed, or is there anything else that you could give us as advice when it comes to design thinking?
We can use design thinking for different fields, and not necessarily to create products or services. But for example, if you're working in a company and we would like to improve a process, we can use design thinking because our users are not the people that is going to buy the product we are creating in the production line, for example, but our user is the colleague that is working in the production line. Does that make sense?
Yeah, kind of get the idea. Yeah.
So it's like another way to see it, that it's not depending on products or services and buying something, you know, it's like inside the company, it's like the inside client, you know. I don't know if you're familiar with that term, inside client, you know, inside customer. I don't know if you say this way.
Okay, interesting. Josep was asking, could you explain what you meant by user comes before the idea?
Yes, I'm going to share the screen again. It doesn't let me move. Oh, yeah. User comes before the idea. Okay. So by meaning, the idea is that amazing something we want to sell to somebody, right? This is our idea, because in design thinking, you have, so the purpose is to improve the life, let's say this way, to our user, our final user. So the idea that we have could be a product we want to sell, a service we want to sell, either something we want to improve. This is the idea. The user is that somebody that is going to use that something we want to create or we want to improve, or is going to buy that something we are selling. It could be a product or service, as I said. So if we focus on the idea only because we believe it's the best idea we have, let's put it, let's put a name on this. Let's talk about some shoes. You know, you created shoes that are able to measure your weight, that are able to make calls, that are able to get warm when it's cold, that are able to measure your steps, you know, and you think those are the best shoes ever. And they might be the best shoes ever, you know, for some people, you included. But what if you, just because you believe this, you put them on the market? What's going to happen? You don't know. You actually don't know what is going to happen. It could happen that everyone is going to like it, the same like you. Or maybe not as many people as you thought are going to like it. So it's risky, you know? So we have to think on the user. What does the user want? You know, because if the user tells me, hey, I like your shoes, but actually I don't feel safe because maybe your shoes are having, I don't know, batteries to get warm, and I don't feel safe by having batteries on my feet all the time, you know? So then, you know, okay, they are not going to buy my shoes because they're having batteries. So why will I invest money by creating shoes with batteries if people are not going to buy it, you know? So that's thinking on the user. That's the reason why it's super important to think on the user. I don't know if that answered the question.
Do you see the chat, by the way, Estefanía?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Did I understood correct that we developed what the customer wants and not to develop and try to use manipulation by advertising to buy what we already have and push him to like it. Okay, I'm going to try to understand. Okay.
If I'm able shortly to describe my question, so so far I understood, so the purpose is to develop exactly what the customer need, and not just to develop whatever product and then use kind of advertising or manipulation way to force the customer to buy like already existing product and kind of push him to like it. So in my understanding, it's like we develop what the customer exactly want, right?
Yes. Yes. And for example, if because you want to try if your idea, if your product is good enough, right? Who would like to invest money for something that is not going to be profitable? So that's why the design thinking comes with this process and all this stuff. Of course, some products can do this way, for like temporary, people is using this because it's on demand, because everyone apparently like it and stuff. But it's risky, it's rare, and it doesn't have so much sense, I would say.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Is the scenario where design thinking fails? That's an interesting one.
Yeah, it's super interesting one. I have not seen a scenario where design thinking fails, to be honest. I have seen only scenarios when it's actually the opposite. I can say one specific example where they was not using design thinking at all, and it was a completely fail. So in Haiti, some years ago, there was an earthquake, and some organizations around the world decided to gather together to try to create an idea or a plan to help those people that had just lost their houses, and they was really not having houses, like everything crashed. And so these organizations was creating challenges, was calling people from around the world to volunteer and so on. So there was one challenge specifically where it was really interesting, actually. It was like, whom can make a house with less money, but with nice materials that whenever an earthquake is going to come, it's not going to fall, and that it's not going to occupy so much space because they was not having so much space, and whom is going the house, whom is going to create a more sustainable house, and so on. It was a challenge. People started to create and make some ideas, and actually one of them won. So they won, they got the money, they went, they made a project, they created those houses. After 6 months, so a lot of volunteers from around the world came and helped. 6 months later, they came back again to Haiti because they wanted to see how, this project was going. And they found out that no single family was living in these houses. What happened? First of all, the house which they created was having second floor. People were so scared to be on the second floor because of earthquakes that none of them was using second floor. Not second and not also first one, you know, both sides, they was just scared. They preferred to live in a super miserable house made of plastic bags and trees, kind of, than living in these, you know, huge project houses. What happened here? Nobody asked the community or the people that was going to use this house what kind of house was they going to use, would they use, you know? So it was completely fail. So to answer your question, I just know the scenarios where design thinking it's having a positive impact, but not the opposite.
Very interesting. Cool. All right, do we have any more questions? Otherwise, we'll wrap it up, and I'll make sure to send over the slide deck to you guys in the community. That's not the case. Estefanía, thank you so much from the community. Hopefully we'll see you in another episode or session. Yeah, thank you so much and hope to see you soon.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.